we have a big game week and it's midweek. And yes, games are coming thick and fast. And as we say that, we have Watford and Chelsea. So yes, Watford Chelsea is interesting. Of course, a London derby, and I'll just throw out a couple of stats there. So I know that Watford Chelsea with Ranieri coming, we going to actually Ranieri's club. That is something that is a great one because he got a great reception at Leicester, and he is actually started off really well in terms of his team scoring. So I think Watford have scored 25 goals in the first 6 games under Ranieri, and that's actually equal to Lampard's record. I think no other Premier League manager ever has done that. First 6 games in a club to score 25. Obviously, they're leaking goals as well, which helps Chelsea, but that's a fantastic record in itself. And head-to-heads, I think we've beaten them 4 times. Obviously, they were not there in Premier League last season, but the previous season we beat them on both the occasions. But the last time we lost to Watford was in 2018, and that was a thrashing under Antonio Conte, 4-1. It was at Vicarage Road. And I think we won last 2 games at Vicarage Road. In history, though, we have never won a 3rd consecutive game at Vicarage Road. So I don't want to jinx it here, but yeah, then that's what it is, right? But yes, moving on, Taron, I know that we are coming off that loss against Manchester United, Watford. I know it was I think crazy circumstance at Leicester, right? The environmental conditions were something totally out of the blue, right? I mean, that is something that Watford still managed to score 2 goals. So do we take Watford kind of very seriously in terms of what they can score? Because those scoring stats are something that we should look out for, right?
Yeah, Watford have been very lethal on the Ranieri, but they could be without Emmanuel Dennis and Ismaila Sarr for the game on Wednesday, which is a massive loss. Sarr has 5 Premier League goals this season, and Emmanuel Dennis was a stellar forward for Club Brugge for many seasons, and it was an absolute coup for Watford to bring him in. Joshua King is probably fit. He's been great for them. Joao Pedro has made impacts off the bench. He could start for them as well in this game. And they do have kind of threats all over their pitch if they want to, but that defence is absolutely atrocious in my opinion. William Troost-Ekong this season, the Nigerian captain, has been far from a Premier League defender. That mistake against Leicester for the Maddison goal was nothing more than a League 2 mistake. You can't be making these mistakes, letting the ball go over your head from this height at this level. Simple as that. Craig Cathcart struggled in the Premier League for Watford in the 1920 season, and he was the guy who let Abraham run in behind for that amazing goal against Ben Foster from the Jorginho pass. So yeah, I think their attack is good, but their defence is such an area for them to exploit. There's a reason that teams have smashed them. Liverpool, I believe, beat them 4 or 5-0 at Vicarage Road. And if you can kind of keep up their attack, as simple as that, Watford are there for the taking. They have good attack, but we know our defence can nullify the best attackers in Europe. In my opinion, Emmanuel Dennis and Joshua King are not the best attackers in Europe, so I'm sure we can nullify that. The midfield is not great. Moussa Sissoko has made a very little impact. I believe Kuca could be fit, the Slovenian or Slovakian central midfielder. But yeah, like I said, if our attack can link up just a little bit and kind of play them quick passes forward, play long balls over the top of stages, that Watford defence is so bad on transition. It's so bad at defending in front of their own goal. And a big loss for them for the game on Wednesday is Ben Foster is still out for them. There's about a 70% chance to be out for the game, and he has been a key reason under Ranieri why they have improved. Ben Foster's leadership, his claiming balls, his claiming for crosses, his coming out of his goal line quickly. All these things are much better than Daniel Bachmann, who has struggled this season. I believe 4 goals against Leicester was partially his fault. At times he could have saved a few of the goals, especially the one from Vardy at his near post. He was good for the team he played for at the Euros. Can't think about it off the top of my head. I think it might be Ankit. You can probably remind me on that team Daniel Bachmann starts for at the Euros.
Okay, actually even kind of misses me, but yes, definitely I think you're right. I think at the end of the day, like Sarr missing and of course Foster missing are I think 2 key elements for them, and they kind of go 4-1, 4-1. If I'm not wrong, but I think they might play Joao Pedro, if I'm not wrong. That Sarr is missing, so he's not a bad player. I think he got a goal recently as well. So again, we should look out. But again, as an away team, we have done excellently. I think we are the only team in the Premier League, as in again, crossing my fingers, not to have lost yet in the Premier League away. And we won 4 games back to back away. But yes, those home draws kind of come back at us biting. And as I say that, I do have a person from Manchester United joining us. And that is Amondi. Amondi is in the house. Amondi, big up, brother.
Yes, greetings, man. Thank you for having me on. How you doing, young man? You right?
Yeah, you good, mate? You okay?
Yeah, man. Bless you. You're from London. Clearly, I can tell by the accent.
Yeah, London, man. West London. What about you?
Yeah, West London as well. Ealing.
Nice.
So it's nice to meet you, bruv.
Nice
it's amazing,
to
isn't it? We can do this kind of international link up, you know?
Yeah, it's mental. It's the power of StreamYard and Zoom.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, as in Omondi, great to have you. Finally, I know we've been trying to get Omondi forever on this channel, and I've been to ManUtd Agenda as a great channel, like one of my favorite Manchester United or my favorite rival channels that I can find on YouTube, and I'm very serious on that, right? So do check out the link below. The ManUtd Agenda is there, and Omondi does a great job. He is a great kind of quiz master himself, and I seek to be there. What Omondi is, but yes. Amondi, so we were talking about the Watford game, right?
Sorry. It's close. We're level par, I'd say. We're level par as quizmasters. I love your show.
I got to be humble, right? It's my show after all. But yeah, you're the guest. But yeah, I was being, realistic as well. But Amondi, Watford, I think, obviously they got a big win against Manchester United recently, right? And then what does Chelsea have to be careful about when we play Watford? Like, any report from there?
Yeah, like I say, they've got a new manager. I think that's always a terrific thing to see when you see a new manager come into clubs. What was it? 2 weekends ago, Norwich and Aston Villa got wins with their new bosses, and that makes a world of a difference. I mean, you're dealing with millionaire footballers, and sometimes they need that inspiration because suddenly they start to have doubts. Oh God, I better step it up. It just shows that it's so difficult to get the motivation out of the players. And all these players, I know there's not much difference in level of players in the Premiership, I think. If you're able to play in the Premiership, it takes so much. You have to be an elite athlete, So Watford, regardless, we might go through their squad and say, who's he? But they've got a great setup there. You can look at various clubs like Wolves and Brentford. They've got different ways of sustaining themselves in the Premier League. Burnley, even they've got their own technique, their own tactical way of sustaining themselves, And you have to look at Watford's model. It's pretty good. They had a great relationship with Udinese, and so they've been bringing in sort of foreign players. Bought a Brazilian player, Ricardinho, what the guy at Everton, what's his name? Richarlison. A few years ago, and that model worked, and they've since gone and bought João Pedro and all these players. And if you look at their front three, they've got Dennis in now, and they're electric. They're really fun. They've got Saul, the guy, is it Saul? Saul on the right-hand side?
But he's injured, right? So then we are just kind of lucky.
Oh, you're lucky. But in that case, you get a nice rest there. But yeah, so I think when you look at them, they've got a great, solid teamwork, good base, and then they've got an attacking three who've also all got pace. So you might think, all right, we can beat Watford and get points off them. But if they hit you on a break with those three and they tweaked it and they've improved lately, if they hit you on a break, they're going to score goals. And they have been scoring a lot of goals recently. And we suffered. I went to the game and we suffered quite heavily against them. So can't take anyone lightly, obviously, in the Premiership. Would you call this a London derby, my friend? Would you call it a London derby?
Watford's not in London, so...
It's a Ranieri derby, come on, Darren. Ranieri derby, that's enough for us. Enough motivation.
Yeah. So yeah, just be warned. Be warned. I'm sure. Who are we to say? Your manager is someone who's probably diligent with tactics, as proven, and I'm sure he's got a plan set up for that. You're very difficult to score against.
I think, come on, if Carrick can have a plan against us, for sure Tuchel will have a plan against Ranieri. Like, put it that way. But yeah, then big up to Talk, brother. Big up for you to join. And again, I've never kind of called it, but I think one of the main banners for the channel, it is Talk who designed it. So again, big up to him. He's fantastic at his work, again, along with the Mondi. Like, I really respect these guys. And Eugene, Shrey, thanks for joining. I hope everyone watching has smashed that like button, because we are definitely going to be discussing a lot more. And yes, we do have a gunner waiting for us also in the background. So let's actually add him quickly. So here it is, Gunnar Gamza in the house.
What's good, guys? Everyone all right?
Yes, Gamza.
Good.
Great to see you, brother. And then again, I've been on the RCBian great channel again. Yes, all things Arsenal, if I'm not wrong, but they do know their stuff, and especially Gunnar Gamza. Brother, you know your stuff, so obviously, here Omondi and Gamza are there to battle. So it'll be interesting, whatever happens. But yes, Tyrone, coming back to quickly, to the Watford game. In terms of the press conference that Tuchel had, there are surprises in terms of the injuries. Werner, I know that might be a blessing in disguise. I know a lot of Chelsea fans might not like it, but honestly, like I've reached that point almost. Hopefully, he'll come back better. But Reece James possibly being out, Jorginho possibly being out. I don't know, that midfield, especially Taron, like it's looking kind of scary now. We really might have to play Barkley or South or what. Like, in reality, do you see that happening?
I don't see Saul starting, to be honest. I see maybe Mason Mount being dropped in there alongside Loftus-Cheek as a kind of box-to-box duo pivot. But yeah, Barkley is more being provided as an attacker in recent weeks for Chelsea. Saul has not been favoured anywhere in the recent weeks. And yeah, our midfield was at one stage one of the most stacked there in the pitch. We had 2 starters in Kovacic and Jorginho, and then 3 subs in our team. But now the winter period has caught up to us. The international breaks, everything. We are the club with the most players away on international duty every single time. So at one stage it was going to come back to bite us, and with games every 3 days now, I'm not sure how we're going to keep up with it, because if Loftus-Cheek gets injured, we will literally have no midfielders. We might as well play with 4 wingers, because there's
I think
no
Chalobah might play, right?
Chalobah or Christensen or Mason Mount could all play there, and we don't really want to see that. We've never experimented with that before. So this squad at one stage at the start of the season was by far one of the most in-depth squads in the league, but now is really short on players. Same with Man City. I believe Guardiola did complain in his press conference today about the squad depth. And yeah, this team, Jorginho could still start. It's not like set in stone that Jorginho and James will be out. Last minute calls will be made before the game tomorrow evening. So we could see both of them starting. And these wing backs are really scaring me, because I don't see where the creativity is in this team at all. We have Lonzo, who has about 23 pace, and we have Azpilicueta right back. So I'm not really sure where it comes from.
Go on. Like, the guy started well, but yes, I hear you. But yeah, this is predicted 11 by me. Again, you might disagree, Taron, but the reason you call it, like, the creativity is missing, and that's why Pulisic and Ziyech, I think, would be possibly a little bit more key compared to Mount. So I'm hoping that these two start, because the last 10 minutes against Man United, against Amonti, you might pitch in here. Pulisic and Ziyech, those probably created chances more compared to what we did in 80 minutes. Don't you think so?
Did they play? So you had Ziyech and Pulisic against Manchester United, you're saying?
Yes.
Yeah. You had a lot of possession. These are really good technical players, especially Ziyech. I mean, he can get the ball in any area, tight area, and you have to really be respecting. I think the difference is today, you can't tackle, as we've seen. The game's changed completely. It disappoints me, You can't tackle. And these guys are very clever on the ball. So if you give him the ball, he's already scanned, done a 360, and you can't rush him. I felt that. And we showed him a lot of respect. And as long as we could face him away from the goal, that's why I think we've done a good job of doing that. Not let him turn and string a pass or something. I think we managed him quite well. I can't recall any real clear-cut chances or you getting him behind us like that. But playing in front of us, it was heart-racing stuff, because he's got the ability, definitely got the ability. I don't think he's been really, he's put himself over really in the Premiership as yet, where people really appreciate what he's got as a player. And I think he's obviously respected by the coaches at Chelsea, because he seems to be getting a lot of game time. But I'm very talented player, can do anything. Maybe not electric pace, but when it comes to balling, everything else, he's a guy that scares me, and he did scare me down at the bridge the other day when he had the ball in those tight areas, because you can pop it to feet. Like I say, in our opposition half, and he will do damage. Just slight little things he can do with the ball, which is amazing. So I felt we dealt with him really well by just forcing him, facing him, making him play the way he's facing, not letting him turn on us or do anything like that. And I think that was a good strategy against such a talented player.
Well, you just heard it from the expert. Like, definitely, put it. I hope Tuchel is listening to this and watching this, because yes, that is the tactic exactly. But yeah, we need to get that, Taron. Taron, I'm hoping, let's get a quick prediction here. But I'm hoping we come back stronger, right? And then whatever be the 11, irrespective of the next game being away at West Ham on Saturday early afternoon, if I remember right. But what do you think? We should win it easy. What's your scoreline prediction?
I don't think it's going to be easy at all, to be honest, with our injuries and the amount we're going to have to compensate for our injuries in this game. All I'm looking is just a win. No matter how we get it, if we score a 96-minute win at anything, if we park the bus after going 1-0 up, seriously, all we need from this game, a tough away game in the start of a very difficult winter period. All we can hope for is some kind of victory. And I'm going to that game, so we better win tomorrow. Hopefully my luck will come back for us. And I'm going to say 1-0. 1-0. I can't be too confident at all. Watford have been electrifying form going forward. And yeah, there's no snow in this game, so there won't be any benefits for the other team.
Okay, that's good to hear.